Hello everyone. Many of you have asked me about question 11 on the practice midterm, so I thought I would do a quick video to show you how to do it. The question asks you about whether you reject or not reject the null hypothesis for different levels of alpha, 0.10, 0.05, and 0.01. So remember, the first rule is that you reject H naught if the p-value you find for a given test statistic and given degrees of freedom is less than alpha. So you are told that the test revealed a test statistic of 2.73 with a degrees of freedom of 8. So the first thing you want to do is to go to the t-table. I'm showing here the top part of the t-table because that shows the only information I need. And right here, you look up 8 degrees of freedom. Okay, so you go to the row with 8 degrees of freedom and you look for your test statistic of 2.73. What you can see, what you will very quickly find is that 2.73 is not exactly in your table, but you know that it is going to be somewhere between 2.306 and 2.896. And in fact, it's going to be here, sort of closer to 2.896 than to 2.306. So the next thing you want to do then is to look up the p-value associated with that test statistic. So again, 2.73 is not exactly in the table, but you know it's somewhere between 2.306 and 2.896. That gives you a two-tailed p-value between 0.02 and 0.05. So 0.05 corresponds to a test statistic of 2.306, and 0.02 corresponds to a test statistic of 2.896. Again, 2.73 that we're looking for is not exactly in the table, but it is going to be somewhere in between 2.306 and 2.896. So 2.73 is somewhere in here. So again, that gives you a corresponding p-value between 0.05 and 0.02. So you go back to the question, and then again, do you reject for the alpha of 0.10? So again, your p-value is between 0.05 and 0.02. So back to the question, and it says if p is less than alpha, then you reject the null hypothesis. Okay, in this case, for an alpha of 0.01, you know that the p-value is less because the p-value is between 0.05 and 0.02, so it's less than 0.10, so in this case, you reject the null hypothesis. The next question, part B, asks you if you reject for an alpha of 0.05. So again, 0.05, the p-value of 0.05 and the p-value between 0.05 and 0.02 is also less than 0.05. So here again, you reject the null hypothesis. Finally, for an alpha of 0.01, 0.01 is greater, the p-value 0.05 to 0.02 is greater than alpha. So in this case, since alpha is actually less than your p-value, you do not reject the null hypothesis. Okay, so again, with the p-value between 0.05 and 0.02, if alpha is less than if the p-value is less than alpha, in this case, the p-value of 0.05 and 0.02 is less than 0.10, then you reject. Again, the p-value here, 0.05, the p-value here, again, 0.05 and 0.02 is less than alpha, so here you reject. On the other hand, because the p-value, 0.05 and 0.02, is greater than alpha of 0.01, in this case, you do not reject.